Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. Well, the National Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development, the training body of the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, has recently hosted a seminar that is entitled Variance and Good Governance for the Benefit of Sustainable Development and also Economic Growth in Egypt. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host this morning in the breakfast show Ambassador Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, Minister Commercial. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning to you and to the viewers.
Well, Ambassador Ayoub, could you give us an idea concerning this seminar? What is the main target or the aims of this seminar?
The main target of this seminar is the good governance and variance for the African continent. When we see that 85 participants from 32 African countries, Arab African countries, Nile Basin countries, Western African countries, and South African or Sub-Saharan countries are coming to Cairo, Egypt, to participate in this seminar. This means many things. From political point of view, it is Egypt is regaining its leading role in the continent. That's something important for us. Second, from economic point of view, we know that this Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, 17 Sustainable Development Goals, were promulgated or were issued by the United Nations General Assembly in 2015. The heads of states agreed on this 17 Sustainable Development SDGs, as we call it, for the world and for Africa especially. Egypt is a main participant in this process so that we can raise the standard of living and ensure good governance for the country and for the economy and for the administration at all times. This is something very important for us and also for the African countries to come and have this training, I will say training in Cairo, Egypt. This is one thing. Other thing is that when they come and they mix with their Egyptian counterparts, this creates bridges of understanding and the further bridges of cooperation in the near future between the leaders in this country and their counterparts in Egypt. A third consideration in this aspect is that Egypt is following the SDGs, 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, and is keen to establish its presence in Egypt and to ensure its complete implementation in the short run, because this is for the long run. This 2013, so we are on the road, on the right road, or we are following the roadmap of the United Nations for the better living conditions for the Egyptians and also for the African countries.
Yes, Ambassador Ayoub, why is it that the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development is the one holding this symposium?
Yes, they are hosting it because they are the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development. The ministry is concerned with the overall development, economic development of Egypt. They put the plans and give it to the ministries to implement it. And it's very important that the planner is in good hold of the assets, of the components, of ingredients, or of the tools which he is using to implement his goal, that is SDGs, which is very important, whether for Egypt or for the African countries when they come to Cairo to be trained on the SDGs and good governance, which is very important, whether for Egypt or for the African countries.
Yes. Ambassador Ayoub, how can the details and also the results of this symposium be implemented for the benefit of citizens?
When we say good governance or governance, this means that there is a plan, there is a roadmap, and there is overseeing, and there is cross-check every now and then, cross-checking, is it implemented completely and in accordance with the original plan or not? This is very important because when we put a plan, more important is that we implement it. A good plan needs to be properly implemented, and this is something which they ensured by the Minister of Planning, and they follow up the implementation of the different ministries, different organizations, because when we say SDGs, it touches all aspects of life in Egypt. economic development, literacy, clean water, even for disabled, for the women, and also health. All the aspects of the life are included in the 17 SDGs of the United Nations, and we are on the right track as far as implementing it in the appropriate time and according to the timetable which is implemented. When we say literacy, for example, we see that many NGOs are working in literacy to complete the efforts by the Minister of Education, for example. This is one thing.
Yes.
When we speak about clean water, we found also NGOs, so it is for the whole community, not only for the government organizations, but all the organs in the community, that is the government and the NGOs and the private sector. They cooperate together to implement the plan as it is planned and with the timetable which is set beforehand.
Yes, Ambassador Ayoub, still in the same point, how can the recommendations of this and the results also of this symposium be implemented for the benefit of the overall economic growth?
Economic growth depends mainly on what we do. What we do should be planned beforehand, and this is the governance and SDGs which we are implementing. So there is a plan and there are people who implement this plan. It is very important that we oversee and check and cross-check what has been implemented. Is it implemented properly, at the right time, and at the reasonable cost? The word cost is very, very important when we implement any economic development plan, because the cost means a lot. Whether or not we will be able to implement it within the limited resources. The resources are always limited, and the needs are unlimited in all times. So we need to implement within our resources in the timetable and at the lowest cost possible. When I say cost, I mean cost that is the cost for the economy and which is reflected on every citizen in the country.
Yes, Your Excellency, what is the training that in your opinion is needed to implement the recommendations of the symposium in Egypt and also in Africa, and the importance of this training, of course?
Training is very important. Who is going to implement the SDGs? Who is going to implement the economic plan for any country? Till the officials. It is in this case till the officials, the persons who will be vanguarding or pioneering in implementation of the process. So they should be well trained at what to do and, most importantly, what not to do. This is one thing. Other thing is that when we are seeing that the leaders, the economic leaders of the 32 African countries are coming to Egypt to have training, this means that we are on the right track of leading the way to economic development, not only for Egypt, but also for all the African countries and together. Economic development is not a unilateral operation. It is a multilateral. That is, we need to cooperate with Sudan, with Nigeria, with the other countries, so that increase the value addition of any economic plan. So it is very important to bring them there, or to invite them to Egypt, so that you know what they are going to do and how they are going to do it. And because at the end of the day, we need to calculate the results every year or every quarterly or whatever, so that we are sure that the implementation is according to the plan set by the country of every government.
Yes, Your Excellency, who would be the eligible people, or shall we say the youth of economic background, for example, that can be trained in order to implement the recommendations of this symposium?
It is very important that those who are leading the process of implementation have the cooperation of the individuals. When I say the individuals, I mean the organizations, the private sector, the NGOs should be cooperating together. It is not unilateral but multilateral process, which should include all the forces in the community, so that we ensure that we reach our common goal, which will be reflected on the individual at the end of the day. So the citizen or the individual, if we can say that, is the most important beneficiary of implementation of the right process or the SDGs, which we have since 2015, and we are going to 2030, so that we are sure that we are raising the standard of living, increasing employment, better health, better education. Even this persons with special needs, they are taken care of. The women have the role, and the new generation is very important in this process. They have a role, an important role to play today and tomorrow.
Yes, yes. Your Excellency, Ambassador Ayoub, how can the coordination or the exchange of experiences and information among the participants of the symposium from various countries, how would it support the success of implementing the recommendations?
This is a very important point. When we are having 85 participants from 32 countries, and they're sitting together, everyone is showing what he has done, giving experience. So we are exchanging experience so that we reach the best form or formula for development in a specific field. For example, for education, how was it done in Uganda or in Nigeria or in South or in Lesotho or South Africa? What did they do? How did they do it to reach the goal within the set time and at the lowest cost possible? So exchanging experiences is very important for those who have experience and those who have experience in other fields.
Yes.
So it is important for each and every one of them, because the end result is that we are adding value or value addition for all the community or all the trainees, the 85 of them. They go back to their countries with more knowledge and with more experience, not their experience only, but the experience of the 31 other countries.
Yes, Your Excellency, Ambassador Ayoub, the symposium was coordinated by a development network in which regional U.S. A counselor delivered a speech. Could you shed more light on this?
In fact, many components are playing when we are speaking about sustainable development goals. Many organs or many organizations are cooperating together. They need and they have to cooperate together to reach the set goals, and we check every now and then, that is every quarter or whatever, every year, to see, was it implemented completely, 100% implementation, or there are handicaps here or there, and how to correct it so that we continue the process. It is very important that the process of implementation should be overseen by will I say independent organization like the Minister of Planning, for example, when they see the Minister of Education, Minister of Industry or Minister of Agriculture, for example, have they implemented their part of the whole operation or whole development process or not? And if not, why? And how can we correct our procedures so that we reach the set goals in the set time at the reasonable cost or at the set cost or lower cost?
Yes. So, Ambassador Ayoub, what do we expect now from this symposium? What would be the outcome?
The outcome is a very positive one and a very important one. First,
yes,
we are cooperating together. We are in the same boat. African countries need to cooperate together for the common benefit or the mutual benefit of each and every one of these countries. This is one thing. Other thing is that when we cooperate together, when we are increasing our prospects and increasing the value of what we are doing. Third thing, which is very important, when they come to Egypt and see what has been achieved on the ground, this means that we are giving a good public image for what has been implemented by the Egyptian government as far as economic development is concerned. It is very important that they come together, they cooperate together, and they exchange experiences, and at the end of the day we find that they see a role model in the Egyptian economic development plan, which we have implemented during the last 4 years, and is successful in many aspects. And these aspects are now portrayed to them so that they can benefit from it, like we are also gaining their experience, how they do it in every part, and how they are lowering the cost and achieving the goals in the same time, which at the same time is very important for us.
Yes, yes. Ambassador Ayoub, 85 participants from more than 32 countries were participating in this symposium, including Morocco, Uganda, Nigeria, Algeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia, South Sudan, also Sierra Leone, Congo, Egypt, Benin, Zimbabwe, Senegal, Zambia, Rwanda, and lots of countries from Africa. How do you see this, the gathering of these countries in coordinating with one another in order to implement the recommendations of this symposium?
We need to cooperate because our value increases when we are cooperating together. For example, Egypt is in need of, let's say, meat, for example, or cattle or sheep, and is produced in Uganda, for example. So we can increase the value of their product by cooperating with Egypt in this respect, whether in raising it, slaughtering it, refrigerating it, and exporting it. This is just one small aspect in which we can cooperate together to increase the value or add to the value of what we have. So cooperation between the African countries is very important to each country and to each citizen in this country. And Egypt is playing an important role and leading role in this respect, not only showing them the road, but also training these officials how they do it and how they better use the available resources. The resources are always limited, and we are trying to put implement it in the best possible way that the value is increased when it is put together. But when we are developing unilaterally, development is crippled. When we are multilaterally, the development is multiplied in effect and multiplied in results.
Yes. So how do you see, Your Excellency, Ambassador Ayoub, the importance of holding such kind of symposiums?
First, having training is very important for those who are going to implement the plan.
Yes.
This is number one. Number two, when they come to Egypt and see the experiences which was gained through the years by the Egyptian bureaucracy or Minister of Planning, let's say, this we are conveying to them a part of our experience, and also at the end of the day, we are also getting cooperation and having their experience. Third thing, which is very important, when we create the personal contact between the bureaucrats or the leading bureaucrats or officials, let us say, it creates many areas in future. I have experienced it. When we know the person in charge of planning in Uganda, for example, or in Nigeria or Lesotho or Algeria or whatever, in many cases we can cooperate in something which is beneficial not only to us but also to them. Mutually beneficial benefits are very important for economic development. We cannot go alone, but cooperation increases the value of what we are doing, and they are benefiting more than we are doing in this respect.
I thank you very much for your valuable information. Thank you for your time and for joining us this morning. I really have had the honor to host you today. Ambassador Ayoub, Mahmoud Ayoub, Minister of Commercial, thank you very much.
Thank you, and to the viewers, and a happy Eid to you.
Thank you. Happy feast. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you now with other segments in the breakfast show.
is the head of one of the two triads of Komando Temple. Is composed of Hurwer and Ta Senet Nefret and Pa Entawin.